I spoke at an event. It was actually a real estate event in North Carolina a little while ago. And I said, look, how many of you here are friends? And, like everyone put their hands up. How many of you haven't spoken to each other for a year? And like pretty much most of them. I said, you're not friends, you're associates. When you know the middle name, you know the dog's name, and you know what they order at the bar before they get there, now you're starting to get into the friend zone. But people don't respect that. Everyone today on that hit list is ChatGPT and AI technology and all this kind of stuff, which is making us worse at communicating. This is a tool, and it's a tool to make us better, but people are using it as a tool to replace us.
Yeah.
The one thing that we need, and you put me on a soapbox now, as woke as we think we are, as developed and as evolved as we are, we're fucking not. If we see something attractive, it could be the smell of a hot dog, it could be a motorcycle, it could be a car, it could be a pretty girl, it could be a pretty guy, whatever. Whatever attracts us, we're drawn to it. And when we walk past a bush and it rattles, we shit ourselves. What the hell's in there? We're very primitive. And one of those primitive things we need is to connect with another human being. That's what we need to do. Look at what happened during COVID. We went from not being able to connect to actually creating riots because there had to be some form of connection. Now, a lot of those riots were for good reasons, but I guarantee you 30% of those people in those riots didn't know what they were rioting for. They just used it as an excuse to get out of the room, walk around with a freaking banner. People need to connect. And when you're talking to someone, they need to know that you're heard, that you understand. And to do that, you've got to put the mileage in. Don't give a client what they ask for. That's called a transaction. That's what Amazon does every day. Give them what they need. Give them what they desire. Challenge why they're thinking about this. If you'll let me, I've got a little story which will explain this.
Go into it.
And it's in the real estate world. So I had a coaching client, and she was a great lady, North Carolina, and she had a real estate license. She was doing really well, and she had a hit list of these clients that she wanted to get into her world, and she wasn't getting any of them. And she contacts me one day, and she said, this lady has contacted me to find her a house on this street, and I'm dying. And I said, well, let's have a phone call. Let's get on. I said, okay, who is this woman? She tells me who this woman is. She was madly enamored with this lady, very powerful lady in North Carolina. And she said she finally come to me to get her a house. And she's told me what she wants. She's told me the street she wants it on. And I've gone, okay, and what have you done? She said, I've given her everything on that street. She said, it's not even a big street. She said, there's not a lot of houses. I've even knocked on houses and gone, hey, would you be open to selling? But everything I give her, she says no to. And I said, well, there's the problem. She's like, why? She said, I've given her everything. What? No, you've given her what she asked for. What she doesn't know is what you need to know. I said, you need to challenge her. Have you asked her why that street? She's like, no. She asked me that she wanted to be on this street, wanted 3 bedrooms, wanted a pool. I went and found it all, and she doesn't like it. I said, you've got to communicate with your client. You've got to build up a relationship. This is what you do. You go back, and the first words you say is, I apologize, I've done you a disservice. I'd like to ask you straight off the bat, why that street? Before we get into everything else, why there? And people are scared of using that 3-letter word, why. People will literally text me, and I'm warning anyone now just in case they do. They will text me and they will DM me and they will go, hey, Steve, I'm in LA. We should get together for a beer. Why? Now, a lot of people will find that offensive, and I get some really violent responses because I find it funny. But then I'll get other people go, well, I'm working on this project and I think you can, oh, okay, great. Either yes or no, or you need to speak to someone else. So why is a great question to ask. When this lady went back to her client and said why, she told her the story that as she was growing up and didn't have money, no matter where her mum took her, the dentist, the mall, the grocery store, she would drive down this street. And she would always drive down this street and tell her daughter, this is where the people that made it live. So her daughter wasn't trying to find a 3-bedroom house. She was trying to complete the chapter that her mum had visualized that this was the... As soon as the realtor realized that she was trying to find the made it street, and let's be blunt, streets change over the years, don't they?
For sure.
You know, you look at Soho and you look at, Meatpacking District. These are shithole areas that now most people can't afford to live in. I know I lived in East London that's now full of $2 million lofts, and it was drug dens when I was living there. So as soon as she realized that, hey, you need to move into the Made It Street, she offered us some of those new locations. She bought the first house she showed her because she had challenged the reason behind the request. And today we're scared to ask why. So I think today you can download anything. Me and you could download the intelligence we need from an Apple store to build a bridge. We could learn a foreign language within 2 months, again, by downloading something. But the ability for two people to connect, listen, hear, and be heard and connect is still something that we need to fine-tune, and we're getting really shit at it. And the good thing about people getting so bad at it is that I end up looking amazing. So thank you.